Ashenberger, and today I'll be talking to you about medical marijuana. I'm sure you all have your own views and opinions on medical marijuana, especially because it's risen in popularity over the past couple of years. And medical marijuana will affect society and our youth and our possible adults if we legalize it. Medical marijuana has physical and mental effects on the body. It can be very dangerous if you're not regulated with it. The recorded side effects are depression, hallucinations, you can get bloodshot eyes, it can affect judgment and coordination, and it can also affect the IQ and mental function of teenagers. It can be very dangerous to your lungs, quite like smoking a cigarette, and it can introduce bronchitis. Very few conditions are treated with medical marijuana because of the stigmatism that surrounded it over the past couple of years, but it is used to treat Alzheimer's, cancer, epilepsy. It controls pain and nausea. It's very popular because it's claimed to help with seizure control, especially with children. And a new drug has just been FDA approved. It's called Epidiolex, and it controls seizures. It's highly regulated because of the past recreational use. And you have to have a written recommendation from a licensed doctor in states where that is legal. And it's legalized in 33 states and the District of Columbia. But just because it's legalized doesn't necessarily mean that you can get a hold of it. You have to have distributors and you have to have doctors that are willing to assign medical marijuana. And it's very difficult to get a written recommendation because medical marijuana hasn't always been proven to cure or necessarily help these diseases that it's used to treat. It really just helps with symptom control and, like I said, seizure control, but that doesn't mean it's going to fix your seizure problem. Public opinion is also very important because it affects the future of medical marijuana. Citizens vote on restrictions and laws of medical marijuana. I know just recently it was on a bill on whether or not we wanted to legalize it here in Arkansas. And the Pew Research Foundation says that 62% of Americans believe that medical marijuana should be legalized. 69% of Democrats agree that it should be legalized, and 45% of Republicans say that it should be legalized. So there's also a difference between Democrats and Republicans, which means, your political beliefs really affect how you think on new medical advancements, especially something that's as difficult as medical marijuana. Political opinion is also important because they're the ones actually writing the legislature over medical marijuana. Federal law has barred it throughout 18 states, and the judiciary part of government has elicited a very diverse response to medical marijuana throughout its rulings over several decades. So judges also have a hard time ruling on marijuana, especially with this new rise in medical marijuana and how it treats things, but that doesn't necessarily take away the symptoms that you could get while also using it with recreational use. So that kind of has an effect on how we do our justice system, because what if somebody gets in a car wreck and they're using medical marijuana, but it's having the same effects as recreational use of marijuana? This is a very difficult thing to decide on. So my goal is to inform you about the possible benefits and drawbacks of legalizing marijuana. And as citizens, I think it's very important to realize what you're putting out into the world. Whether or not we want to introduce medical marijuana, whether or not we want it to be around us. I know recently a lot of states have opened recreational use marijuana, and a lot of citizens think that that's a great thing, but a lot of citizens have a hard time living in those areas now. And medical marijuana, the easier we can obtain it, the more dangerous it is to use it recreationally. But at the same point, medical marijuana has been proven to help people. It helps with their pain, it helps with nausea, it can control seizures, and that makes a lot of people's lives better. So I think it's very important that we stay informed, that we know the effects, and we think about our own personal beliefs, how our lives would be affected by it. Because, our youth is growing up, and they're going to grow up possibly in a place where medical marijuana is legalized. And you need to decide whether that's a good thing or not. So, medical advancements can be dangerous, but it can also be very positive. How long is that?
4 minutes and 53 seconds.
That's close enough.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's fine. That's close
And
enough.
I'll pan
So even with the pan thing, that can add, as long as you can